I'm Christie O'Donnell, and I am a Fremd English teacher.
So I guess you already answered the first question. I guess what field you currently work in?
Yeah, so I work in education.
And what inspired you to join this field?
So I actually didn't go to school for teaching or education. I went originally for psychology, and then I wanted to work with like teenager age students, and like I guess when I was like going through the psychology fields, there wasn't really a lot of like resources for like mental health and like psychology at that time, especially for like the jobs. So it's changed now. But I figured like the best place I could be was maybe in a school. So I wasn't necessarily going to be a teacher at first, but I thought maybe like a school psychologist or a counselor. And then I thought like, working in the classroom would be the most direct way to impact, young adults, I guess. So that's
Yeah.
why I landed on teaching. Mhm.
And then is there something you wish you did differently during your journey in entering this field?
Hmm. Not really. I mean, I went to school. So, I mean, it kind of stinks that I went to school for completely different, well, kind of different, but psychology you can apply anywhere. I mean, and then I had job experience like that was outside of teaching. And then I had to like, pay more money to go to school again for college for like teaching. But at the same time, I don't think I would have been ready to be a teacher like at 21 or 22 like some people are, and it just gave me better life experience, knowing what I didn't want to do in life and and so by the time that I decided to become a teacher, I was more experienced, I guess. And then I also had the opportunity to, while I was taking classes to become a teacher, I was a TA at Schaumburg High School, so I got to be in other teachers' classrooms, and that was like some of the best experience I could get, and it just kind of solidified that like that's what I wanted to do. So it was like a roundabout way to getting there, but at the same time I wouldn't change it because it gave me a lot of perspective in life. So yeah.
Is your current work field like male dominant? What challenge did you have to overcome to assert yourself in this field?
So it's actually kind of interesting because like when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be, one of the things I thought about maybe doing was like law, and so I thought psychology, and then I was like, well, maybe I could be like an advocate in some way in like law. So I really didn't know what that could mean, but I did talk to a female lawyer that I knew, and then she kind of pushed me away from that. And so like one of the things that I kind of realized with education, separate from like my friends who are in business or law or another type of like finance field or engineering, is that like I didn't necessarily have to worry about promotions and getting like having like being equally compensated, because teaching is like a strict salary schedule, and once you're in it, you don't have to like really fight for your promotions and everything, because I just wanted to be a teacher. I didn't want to be an administrator or anything else like that. So that is actually one of the things that like I also liked about the teaching field, but it's kind of discouraging that like I just knew that I didn't have to face that type of you know like obstacle that other people would face in another field. And so it's pretty equal in terms of, I think, like the breakdown in terms of gender. When I was going to school though, I remember like most of my teachers were kind of male more than female, and I think like in secondary education sometimes that could be more true, but I'm not really sure. But yeah.
Yeah, lots of my teachers this year are also male, and last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like, I don't know, like maybe it's different by English or like by like that's what some of my students say sometimes, by English or math or science, but I think they're trying to like, correct for that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then what gave you the confidence to choose your passion in college?
So for psychology or for like education?
I guess education.
I guess I think more life experience. And then my brother is a teacher here as well. So when I wanted to I wanted to see like what he did in class. And so when I like went there and watched him, I realized that like it's really not I was always worried that like students would like mutiny against me or something, or they wouldn't listen, because when you're a student, you don't want to talk in front of a class, most of us. So that was what I was in high school. So that's like what kind of pushed me away from that, is that like I didn't think I would have that type of control. But then I saw my brother, who is like very natural, not like just like a dominating force or anything, even though he was a male, but like, I saw the way that he kind of handled the classroom. And so I figured, like that I could maybe do that as well, because we have some similarities to our personality. But like, it's definitely not an easy thing to walk into a class and try to like,
Yeah.
you know, control the room. And I think especially for like female teachers, sometimes that's a little bit harder, because you might be seen as like more harsh or strict, as opposed to what is expected of a male teacher. So like classroom management stuff was kind of hard to figure out at first. So yeah.
What advice would you give to young girls who don't feel confident
In general,
in general? Yeah.
ah man, I don't even I don't know. I think it's like it's so hard, because you can say all of the advice that you want to say, but then at the end of the day, people are still like in their world. So I like coming from it from, like after I remember just being so caught up in what other people think, and what other people you think that they're saying, but then you realize later that like really people don't care about what, like the minute things that like are going on in your life. Like people don't really care about that or pay attention to it, because they're focused on like themselves. So I think it's just like just what when I see students who are truly happy, they're just like being authentically themselves. And when you're being authentically yourself, you're being more confident. And when you're not, you're trying to please more people, and then you end up not pleasing yourself. So it's like a really hard thing to like to go through when you're in the moment, but at the same time, like what you put out there is going to attract the people that like you authentically should be around. So I think I learned that like a little bit too late, and trying to please more people, right? And not being confident in just like what I was. And like that is problematic. So I think like quality of friends and like quality of what you're doing is better than any quantity of friends or activities that like might not be your thing. Yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give to girls who want to pursue their passion in a career but don't know how to?
I would say try to get as much practice, or like, reach out to people who are in the field already, get as like much experience as you can, because the more that you like put yourself within like in the field or in the environment, like the more comfortable you'll become, and the more that you'll know like what you have to work on. And I think like people just have to be comfortable with putting themselves in like a like a like an like a situation where they might not be the best, or they might make mistakes, and just realize that that's only going to benefit you later. And yeah. Okay.
And then who are some of the female role models in your life?
uh this was a question that was asked by one of like my other students who's in like a women's studies class, and they were asking, like they're interviewing and asking this question, and I thought it was just really interesting to reflect on, because like when I was growing up, it's not like the 50s, but at the same time, like it's not that you have a lot of role models. Like I know my mom, she had 5 kids. So for a long time she was like just working, or like, raising kids. And then she was a librarian, and then she like switched out. So like obviously I could say my mom, but I never like thought growing up like that's my role model. You know what I mean? And I never really thought that for any like woman. So it's hard to like, and I think that's like more telling than just picking a random person to talk about, because I think it's like what you're like, I always wanted to be not what is expected. Like I wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor or something growing up when I was young because I wanted to be on my own and not dependent on, somebody else. And so maybe it's growing up in a family of 4 boys or something, or like having like them as my role models, but it was always like I was like trying to be the antithesis of what I thought was like the expectation. I don't know.
And then, what does a female role model mean to you?
Somebody who is, confident, smart, strong, creative, like, and also is not strong just like in themselves, but like in, standing up for other things as well, like, or, other, like not being afraid to speak out to things that like might be uncomfortable, like,
Yeah.
yeah.